SBR Videos is sponsored by Sports Cash System. Click on the link below for more information. Hi, welcome to SBR Forum Videos. I'm Peter Loshak. We are previewing Week 15 in college football, and right now we're going to preview the Big Ten Championship game, Ohio State, Michigan State, with Joe Duffy from OffshoreInsiders.com, and this is probably without a doubt the most debated and discussed line of the college football Week 15 card. Joe, thanks for being back with us.
Yeah, there's no debate about that, Peter. This is going to be one of the biggest games of the year, and it's going to decide the national championship, and it's going to be competitive, unlike that ACC game.
There's a huge thread on SBR, the main forum at SBR, about this game, and it wasn't started a few days ago. It was actually started 3 weeks ago, where the guy, anticipated. He said, if Ohio State, Michigan State, play in the championship game, blah, 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 and everyone's weighed in with their opinions. Before we get into it, give a quick plug for OffshoreInsiders.com.
OffshoreInsiders.com, tracing our roots back to the scorephone days of the 1980s. My picks have been public, Joe Duffy's picks, since 1988, and they're now at OffshoreInsiders.com, just $17 a day, $90 a week.
Okay, Ohio State, Michigan State. Michigan State is a 5 or 5.5 point underdog. Totals 51.5, and this game, of course, is going to be played indoors in Indianapolis, and some people are saying that gives an advantage to Ohio State with their great speed, and especially to Braxton Miller at quarterback. Ohio State is coming off of a near loss to Michigan, who's pretty obviously an inferior team to Michigan State. But a lot of people made, in this thread at SBR, they made the argument. They said Michigan hates Ohio State. They were at home with 100,000 fans. They have some talented football players, and that was their Super Bowl. Michigan State on a neutral site is an easier game for them. That's a direct quote from the spread at SBR. The deal with Michigan State is they have statistically an awesome defense, an improving offense. The question is, have they seen an offense as potent as Ohio State's yet? And will they be able to hold down Ohio State's offense? I'm not exactly sure. What do you think, Joe Duffy?
Now, I think they will hold their offense down just enough. And I'm also worried that Ohio State, at the end of the year, they were playing pretty sloppy in that game against Purdue and Illinois. They were, and I'm going to have to use that old cliche, it seemed that on offense they were quote-unquote playing not to lose rather than to win. They were getting quite conservative, and that could really cost them here, but especially against Michigan State's defense, which has been tremendous, one of the best defenses in the country. Michigan State holds teams to 1.5 yards per play below their normal average, and I know a lot of people like to use different rankings and ratings. We're more in the ratings, but if we're going to do rankings, we prefer by yards per play, and Michigan State is number one in the country on defense based on yards per play, and they're number one based on a lot of other criterions, but from a handicapping standpoint, yards per play is what we think is most effective. Of course, Ohio State has that explosive offense. Michigan State doesn't have all that great of an offense, but I think with Ohio State, the last couple weeks, they've been pretty conservative on offense against not a very explosive offense on Michigan State's side, but a very good defense. Yet again, another high-profile game. My official play is going to be on the under, but I think the odds makers do have this about right. It is going to go down all the way to the end as far as the national championship implications are concerned.
All right. Well, let me get your take on this one quote that I'm going to read you right now. It comes directly from the thread at SBRforum.com. This is the quote. It's Ohio State has problems against the spread type of offense and dual threat quarterbacks. MSU doesn't have either. So I'm struggling to find a scenario where they can keep pace with Ohio State's offense. They rely completely on defense. I'm not comfortable betting on a team with a great defense and subpar offense against a team that averages 48 points a game. That pretty much sums up the argument for Ohio State right there.
Yeah, no, I would agree with that in principle. As a general rule of thumb, I prefer to go with a better offense in a battle where there's a good offense against a good defense, because I think that is one of the myths where people say defense wins. I would rather go with the much better offense. But Michigan State, their offense isn't tremendous, but it isn't all that bad. And this is as good of a defense that Ohio State has faced all year. Now, I will say this. This is the third time that Ohio State has faced a top 10 ranked defense, and they've done very well this year against very good defenses, where in Wisconsin and Iowa, they got 94 more yards above Wisconsin's normal defensive average and 192 yards above what Iowa normally allows. So the truth is Ohio State has had success against quality defenses. If you're going to ask me to pick a side, I would agree with that poster. I would rather go with the better offense. But I don't know. There's so many metrics. I haven't really made a final play as far as the side is concerned, because I think the one thing that theory is leaving out here is there's a lot more pressure on Ohio State. Michigan State's a good team, not playing under all that much pressure. So I think that is the equalizer. So my official play will be on the under. And the side, I agree on paper, Ohio State, but I think the quote-unquote intangibles would say Michigan State. That's why I haven't made a final pick on the side.
All right, interesting insights. As always, Joe Duffy from OffshoreInsiders.com. Unfortunately, he's not going to go on the record with a side, which is what everyone's talking about. He's going to take the under 51.5. Thanks, Joe.